Coming up on the Paper Talk today, Andre Onana has gone. He has gone to Turkey. So, what is going to happen with the goalkeeper situation for the Manchester derby? Is it going to be Lammens, or is it going to be Altay Bayindir, or could it even be Tom Heaton? Plus, what is going on with Matheus Cunha? He's given a little bit of an update on social media. That could be a welcome boost for the manager. Let's get into it. Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather is pretty sunny. It's not too warm, but it is sunny. Listen, we'll get straight into it. The big news, you saw it yesterday, was Andre Onana leaving Manchester United. He's gone to Trabzonspor on a season-long loan. It had to happen, didn't it? We knew. I spoke about this yesterday in my news in the morning. It was just before we got the Here We Go, but it was pretty inevitable. He didn't have much of a future at Manchester United. He's no longer first choice. Altay Bayindir is first choice. We know that because he's been playing every Premier League game this season. And also, when Onana did come in for the Grimsby Town game, he had a complete stinker. Let's not sugarcoat it. Was at fault for both the goals and didn't exactly cover himself in glory for the penalties. I know he saved the penalty, but it wasn't great, was it? And if you're struggling against League 2 opposition, then you're going to struggle to make a case for you being Manchester United's goalkeeper, especially when it's your third season at the club, or you're going into your third season at the club. And it hasn't been a successful spell, a successful move for Andre Onana. He was brought in with a lot of expectation. He was replacing David De Gea, a player who some would argue is a club legend, at the very least is one of our most successful goalkeepers in terms of his stats, in terms of the amount of, certainly in terms of the amount of Player of the Year awards he's won. So he comes in, he replaces David De Gea, so there's a lot of expectation there. If you're going to replace someone with the reputation of David De Gea with a new goalkeeper, and he just flattered to deceive, and that's being polite. The first season, obviously in the Champions League in particular, he had a bit of a stinker, more or less cost us our participation in the Champions League with some pretty horrendous performances. And I know it sounds like I'm being harsh on him here, but let's be honest, let's not pretend. The game against Galatasaray, for example, sticks in my memory, but there was one or two others as well. I don't think he did particularly well against Munich or even Copenhagen. So you look at that, you go, okay, that's not good. He picked up a little bit in the league. There was still a few issues there, but you could see glimpses of what the goalkeeper was about and why he'd been brought in. Obviously, he'd been brought in on the back of that successful spell at Inter where they got to the Champions League final. And to be fair, he did very well in that run. He did very well in the final. However, at Manchester United, he did struggle. Second season, we win the FA Cup, but there's still questions there. Still questions about Andre Onana, about his performances. One or two games where I remember the Forest game here in particular was a bad one or two others as well. Even in the final against Manchester City, I know we won it, but the Jeremy Doku goal for me is a mistake by Andre Onana, and he's got to do much better, and it could have been costly. So it's not been a completely successful spell. In fact, that's an understatement. It's been pretty awful. We were waiting to see what was going to happen. Was the manager going to give him another chance? Some players do get that third season opportunity, others don't. Rasmus Højlund didn't. Mason Mount has been, but to be fair, Mason Mount, I think a big part of his lack of success at the club has been his injuries, where Andre Onana, he's just not been good enough. And now he's gone to Trabzonspor, and I don't want to be horrible, but I'm actually surprised he's even got a move there. And that's not trying to dismiss or disparage that club. I just thought no one might be in for him after what he's been through and the performances we've seen at Manchester United. But he's got that move to Trabzonspor, a season-long loan. I think it's best for all concerned. Now the big question for Ruben Amorim is he going to play Altay Bayindir or is he going to play Senne Lammens for the Manchester derby, which is this weekend, of course, because it's a big call either way. Altay Bayindir might be his first choice goalkeeper, but he's not exactly covered himself in glory this season. We saw the mistake against Arsenal. We saw how he struggled on corners in particular against Fulham. And there was another mistake for that second goal against Burnley as well. So all three Premier League games this season featuring Altay Bayindir have had errors in them. Plus you look at the fact that when he has come in the past, he has struggled. There's been a few errors. There's one against Newcastle away that sticks to mind. Even the one against Villa last season where I thought he got away with it a little bit with a disallowed goal. So there's a big problem here for Ruben Amorim because you can throw in Lammens. You can say, okay, he's my new number one. We've brought him in for a reason. But this is a young goalkeeper making his debut for Manchester United in the Manchester derby at the Etihad. Bit of a baptism of fire, that one, isn't it? Just ask Patrice Evra. He made his debut against City, didn't he? He went on to become a club legend, but he struggled in those first 45 minutes. And let's be honest, you're not going to sub your goalkeeper after an half if he's having a shocker. So I don't know what Ruben Amorim's going to do. There's two schools of thought. One, you just go with Bayindir. He's been your number one. It's a bit too much of a gamble to bring in someone like Senne Lammens for a game like that. And if he does struggle in that game, that could not ruin his United career, but it could get it off on the wrong foot. Or You look at Altay Bayindir, you look at his performances this season, you say it's not been good enough. You've brought in Lammens for a reason. Throw him in. That's what he's been brought in to do. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think. I don't think there's an open and shut case for either of those two options. I think there's a sort of a debate to be had in there. I think that you can make a case for either. You can say, look, it's got to be Bayindir. He's the number one goalkeeper. You can't throw in a youngster. Or you can say, look, we've seen what Bayindir's done this season. Not been great. Obviously, there is a third way, as Bill Clinton used to say. You could go with Tom Heaton. Very unlikely, but it could be the manager might go, experience, why not? And also, if he has a bit of a bad game, it's not going to spoil his United career, is it? Or scupper anything for him. I just don't know. It's just not a good position to be in, going into such a big game, such a seminal game. This could be really important for Manchester United, this game. If we were to beat Manchester City, the Etihad, which is doable, let's not pretend it's not. City have lost 2 games this season, so not unbeatable. If we were to beat Manchester, it gives the manager such a boost, gets a little bit of the pressure off him, moves United up that table as well, and just gives us all a little bit of a spring in our step, doesn't it? If we lose that game, then all of a sudden you're looking at it going, well, what, 4 games in the Premier League, and we've already lost 2 of them, and we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. It just adds more pressure. So this isn't a game where you can go, well, it's Etihad, it's City away, it's a bit of a free hit. It feels like it's a little bit more than that. It feels like Manchester United could do with getting a result. We can always do with getting a result in a derby, but especially for this one. So I think the manager's got a big decision to make. And like I said earlier, there is no easy option. So get involved. Let me know what you think. Should it be Bayindir? Should it be Lammens? Or would you even go with the outside bit of a wild card one of Tom Heaton? In other news, because there is other news, believe it or not, there is a little bit of a boost, it seems, with Matheus Cunha. We know he got injured in the game against Burnley. He went off. He's been playing very well for Manchester United. He gave a little bit of an update on Instagram where he was training with one of those bands around him. Not a gastric band, you know what I'm on about. And he had the little emoji, the egg timer, and I think dynamite, which is indicating he's on his way back. Now, there's a school of thought, again, like the goalkeeper situation. Do you risk him if he's not definitely 100% ready to go for the Manchester derby, or do you wait? Or do you look at him and you go, he's playing very well, he is a handful, we need him for that game. If we are going to beat Manchester City, throw him in. Listen, I think if he's fit, you play him. I think if he tells you he's fit and you do a fitness test and he passes it, play him. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think he'll cause Manchester City all sorts of problems. He did it at Wolves against Manchester City. He can certainly do it for Manchester United. He's been playing very, very well indeed. And I think him and Bumo and probably Benjamin Sesko up front would give us all a lot of options, would give United real firepower there. And I think it could cause City all sorts of problems. Again, it's a difficult one for the manager. And look, even if he doesn't play, Cunha, let's say he says, all right, you're on the bench. He could play. Ahmad is one of the 10s. We'll have to wait and see how fit Mason Mount is as well. He's another one that went off injured against Burnley, of course. I'm not 100% sure on him. But Matheus Cunha, just being available of sorts, even if it is from the bench, that gives the manager a boost because the manager needs all the help he can get. He needs all his players ready and fit and able for this Manchester City game because it is such a big game. And if Matheus Cunha is available, then I think that gives the manager a proper boost. In other news as well, Denzel Dumfries, it feels like it's 2021 all over again. We've been linked with Denzel Dumfries for years, haven't we? Going back to probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. There's a story in the Metro, I think it is, linking us with him again. I think he's indicated that he wouldn't mind coming to the Premier League, playing in the Premier League. It's doubtful that he is going to end up at Manchester United. He's 29 years old. Look, phenomenal footballer. Absolutely class. Fits into the system perfectly on that right-hand side. Having him as your right wing-back would be manna from heaven. However, is it going to happen? Highly unlikely. I don't see it, to be honest with you. I think at 29 years old, the chance has probably passed. However, who knows? Maybe you could bring him in as an option if you wanted a bit of experience there and if you wanted something different, maybe in January or in the summer. Let me know in the chat in the comments. Do you ever see that happening? Or do you think the Denzel Dumfries bus has well and truly departed? I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be back later on today with the Paddock podcast. So make sure if you're not doing so already, you are hitting subscribe. Also, lots of people been asking about the merchandise. Yes, we are launching the merchandise this week. There's a link in the description. Go and check that out. Loads of new merch on the site, so make sure you check that out. I'll be Jay Motty. This has been the Paper Talk outside a pretty sunny Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.